The sun burned low over the village of Aniocha, casting long shadows across the market square. Smoke curled lazily from frying pans and cooking fires, and the air was thick with the smell of roasted maize, dried fish, and hot palm oil. Among all the traders who gathered daily to sell their goods, one woman stood out. Her name was Ramat, the akara seller. Her stall was always the busiest in the square. From dawn till dusk, her hands moved quickly, shaping bean paste into golden rounds and dropping them into hot oil that hissed and spat as though alive. The aroma of her akara drifted far beyond the square. Travelers passing through, merchants returning from distant towns, even children with only a coin or two, all made their way to Ramat's stall. But it wasn't just the taste. Ramat greeted everyone with warmth. Her smile was as rich as her food. Her laughter carried like music, and her consistency never wavered. The villagers whispered that her akara was blessed. Some said she must have a secret recipe. Others believed her kindness flavored every piece. Even so, her success drew watchful eyes. Among the other food sellers in the square, envy began to fester. Their own stalls were nearly empty, while Ramat's queue stretched long into the night. Their profits shrank as hers grew. Whispers turned to murmurs. Murmurs turned to plans. One evening, as the sky bled into red and purple, a small group of jealous traders approached Ramat. They spoke sweetly, their smiles sharp as knives. "Ramat," they said, "you are doing too well for someone who has not joined us. Do you not know that success in this village comes from belonging to something greater? We are inviting you to join our society, our circle, our fellowship." But behind their words lay a darker truth, an occultic gathering that fed on envy, manipulation, and sacrifice. Ramat listened, polite as always. Then she shook her head gently. "My hands are clean," she told them. "What I sell is from God. I cannot join you." Her refusal was the beginning of her end. Not long after, the jealous traders began their work. It started with whispers. "She thinks she is better than us. She believes her God will protect her. Let us see how long her joy lasts." At first, Ramat ignored them. She continued fry her akara, smiling, greeting travelers, serving children. But then the sickness began. It crept slowly into her body, like a shadow at dusk. A cough that lingered too long. A fever that returned again and again. Then weakness, heavy and choking, until even standing by the fire became a struggle. Her daughter, a bright young girl named Aisha, stayed by her side, helping her mother at the stall, cooking, serving, managing the long line of customers. They spent their savings on herbs, on doctors, even on traveling healers who claimed to have medicine for every disease. Nothing worked. The traders smiled to themselves in secret. Their charms were working. Their whispered spells had taken root. One night, when the sickness worsened, Ramat lay on her mat, sweat soaking her wrapper. Her breathing rattled like dry leaves in the harmattan wind. She called Aisha to her side. "My child," she whispered, voice thin as thread, "promise me something. If I do not survive this sickness, do not let bitterness consume you. Do not fear their envy. Stand firm, and above all, never forget to call on God. His protection is stronger than anything men or spirits can cast." Aisha wept, clutching her mother's hand. But within weeks, the sickness devoured what was left of Ramat, the woman who had fed the village, who had made akara so delicious that even travelers carried tales of her name to distant towns, was gone. The village mourned deeply. On the day of her burial, the market square fell silent. No one fried akara. No yams sizzled in oil. No laughter rose above the crowd. Only tears, prayers, and the heavy silence of loss. But envy does not die with the dead. For months after Ramat's death, people avoided even passing her stall. Travelers asked, "Where's the woman who sold the famous akara?" And the villagers lowered their eyes and said, "She is gone." Aisha, her daughter, remained in the house, grieving. She had watched her mother waste away, powerless to stop the sickness. Worse, every coin, every naira, every hidden saving had been swallowed by hospital visits and useless herbs. When she looked into the kitchen basket, it was empty. No beans, no yam, No oil. Nothing. But the villagers remembered Ramat's kindness. They gathered in groups, whispered, and decided to act. Each gave what they could. Some brought money. Others brought beans or groundnut oil. The elders contributed frying pans and firewood. Together, they told Aisha, "Take this, daughter of Ramat. Start again. Let your mother's stall live once more. Her spirit will smile if you continue her work." At first, Aisha hesitated. Her hands trembled as she touched the frying pan. Could she really fill her mother's place? Could she stand in the same stall without breaking down? But she remembered her mother's last words. Never forget to call on God. His protection is stronger than any spell. So Aisha began. Each morning, before the market stirred, she knelt by her bedside and prayed. She poured her heart out, asking for strength, for guidance, for protection. Only after that did she light her fire, wash her beans, and begin to fry. And slowly, something miraculous happened. Her akara became even more famous than her mother's. The taste was rich, the texture perfect. People who had once traveled for Ramat's food now returned and said, "The daughter is even better than the mother." Crowds filled the square. Lines stretched longer than ever before. Some said they could smell her akara from miles away. Some claimed her food healed their sickness. Whatever the truth, Aisha's stall overflowed with customers, and with her success came new envy. The same sellers who had conspired against Ramat began to whisper again. Their eyes followed her stall with hatred. Their jealousy grew sharper than knives. "This cannot be ordinary," they muttered. "How can the daughter surpass the mother? This is not skill. This is sorcery. This is dangerous." And so the rumors began. One day, a woman bit into Aisha's akara and shouted, "There is something inside." She pulled from her mouth a cheap iron nail, slick with oil. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Others began to murmur, to check their food nervously. The next week, another man staggered forward holding a piece of fried yam dripping with something dark. He screamed, "This is not oil, this is blood. Human blood." Panic spread. People whispered that Aisha had sacrificed her success, that she was no different from the very occultic groups her mother had refused. It did not stop there. Strange things began to happen. Customers swore that when they looked in the frying oil, they saw faces, twisted, screaming faces, like spirits trapped beneath the bubbling surface. Others claimed that her stall grew colder even when the fire burned bright. Fear gripped the village, and fear breeds judgment. One morning, the palace guards arrived at her stall. Their spears glinted in the sun, their faces grim. "The king demands your presence," they said. A hush fell over the crowd. Aisha wiped her hands, lifted her head, and whispered a prayer. Then she followed them. The king sat in his grand hall, flanked by elders, priests, and warriors. Before him, the jealous traitors stood, their faces alight with triumph. They had brought witnesses, villagers who nodded and whispered, ready to accuse. But Aisha stepped forward with steady feet. Her heart pounded, but her voice was calm. "O Creator," she prayed silently, "if my hands are clean, vindicate me today. If I am guilty, let them prevail. But if I am innocent, let the truth burn brighter than their lies." The trial began. One by one, the accusers spoke. "I found nails in her akara. I saw blood in her oil. She uses charms to draw customers." The hall buzzed with murmurs. The king raised his hand for silence. "Bring forth the witnesses," he commanded. One man stepped forward, trembling. His eyes darted to Aisha, then back to floor. Finally, he said, "It was not me who found the nail. It was given to me by another." Another witness followed, and another. One by one, their stories began to crumble. Fear cracked their voices. Sweat poured down their faces. At last, one felt his knees and confessed. "It was a setup. We planted the nails. We spread the rumors. We could not stand her success. We are the ones who killed her mother." Gasps filled the hall. The king's eyes blazed with fury. He rose from his throne, his staff striking the floor with a thunderous crack. "You dare bring lies into my palace? You dare destroy the innocent with envy," he thundered. "Then let your punishment match your wickedness. The jealous traders were stripped of their stalls, banished from a market, and beaten publicly for their crimes. Their shame would live longer than their bruises. Aisha stood trembling, tears rolling down her cheeks. Relief and sorrow mingled in her heart. She bowed deeply. "Thank you, my king. Thank you, my people. And thank you, my creator, who vindicates the righteous." From that day on, her stall thrived once more. Customers returned, eager for her akara. But Aisha remained humble. She prayed each morning, worked with her hands, and shared her food freely with the poor. And though she smiled again, she never forgot the truth her mother had taught her, and which she now bore in her own flesh. When you succeed, envy will find you. When you shine, darkness will try to smother you. But those who stand with God, who walk with clean hands, will outlast the plots of the wicked. And so the tale of Ramat and Aisha became a warning whispered across Aniocha and beyond. Do not envy the blessed. Do not harm the innocent, for the curse of envy eats the one who carries it. Open book moral lesson.